According to we're in Yaakov, and it's Gemara Shabbat 30b5. So you asked a question about Hillel and Shammai. So Hillel and Shammai were two leading sages of the last century BCE, before the Common Era, and the early first century, and they who founded opposing schools of thought known as the House of Shammai and the House of Hillel. Okay, but that would be your close you're gonna get. Okay, now here we go. Like I said, we're on this page. We're talking about his humility, not humility, his humility. It's humility. Yeah. Okay, fine. So it says, Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis learned in the Mishnah, the Olam He Adam Anvatam Ki Hillel. Really want to strive to always have the humility of and the gentle ways like Hillel. Okay? You guys have the book, right? Okay. Ve'al Yehi Kabdan Ki Shammai. And let not one be stern and unyielding like Shammai. Yeah. Now again, this is Gemara speaking. I mean, it's not biblical scholars saying this. Yeah. What we're doing is we're looking at their seeming personality. But as we discussed in the Lunch and Learn, it's not that one was stern and one was lenient. It was a different perspective. So you could look at the humble beginnings of Hillel. Hillel's a guy who didn't have money to go to yeshiva, so he went up and climbed on the roof. Unlike the people who climb on the roof today, who just to run around, he actually climbed up to sit over the skylight, as it were, to hear words of Torah. And of course it was snowing, and he fell. The famous story that it was snowing, and he nearly froze to death. But that was just to learn Torah. He went through that, and after that, they gave him an open ticket to the first voucher system in the world. They gave him the voucher to come to yeshiva with no money down. But in those days, you had to be of a special ilk, especially you had to have money, all those things. It's no different than what college used to be.
In other words, you had to be able to support yourself.
Right, you had to or somebody support you. That doesn't matter how they did it.
Per se,
right?
That the institution could give away.
There were no. You're saying. They were not. Yeah, they were not right.
Either you had it or somebody had to support.
Right, because you had to support the system. Yeah. So either somebody would support you, but that was up to you to find it.
Yeah.
So it was just like college in the old days, before any of us were born. I'm guessing, from the way that the TV used to portray it. But it was, you had to be rich to go to college. Everybody could go to public school and get their education, but when it came to college, you had to be of that special ilk, that status. So Shammai, if I remember correctly, did not start off with humble beginnings. I think, started off in the upper class, if I remember correctly. Hillel did not. So that right away can give you an understanding as to why one is going to have one attitude versus the other, because Hillel is starting off humbled by life and having to put up with people and having to see the best in people, while Shammai may not necessarily have to do that. That's a character trait that he may have to work on. Yeah. That's just from a historical point of view. On the other hand, as we learned in the Torah, in the Lunch and Learn, so there's an argument. One was Shammai was of the Gevurah, strength, the sternness. And he coupled that with Kavod Torah, that you have to have Kavod Torah, the honor of the Torah, and that has to be paramount to everything else. So if somebody's going to come to you and ask you what is considered a dumb question, you're going to berate them, as compared to, or make a dumb, again, if I'm in that sort of mindset, a dumb claim, you're going to berate them and say, get away from me, I'm not interested. And then you have the other side, which was humility, again, or chesed. So chesed has to look at the individual and have compassion on the individual and say the individual doesn't know what they're doing. If you think about most halacha today, when we look at non-religious Jews, and we say, as I said on the Thursday night class, I think it was. Not the, what day are we on? Sunday night class, where it was we were talking about non-religious Jews. Yeah, that was the Thursday night class when I said the non-cooking for cooking for non-Jews, or actually not cooking for non-Jews on the what?
Monday night.
That was Monday night. That Monday night was yesterday. That was Limud Torah.
Oh,
Okay.
The Sunday night, yeah. It was
Sunday night. So Sunday night's lecture was how we can't cook for non-Jews on the Yom Tov, but we also brought down that a mumar, an apokoros, an apostate, we also can't cook for because according to the Gemara in Cholin, to be quite specific, that sort of a person is considered like a non-Jew for all matters except, well, not all matters. I can't sell him my chametz, but. So what happened? If you remember, I told you that Ramban, amongst others, the Tiferes Yisrael, they all say that that we can invite these people because they are ones b'machshava, that they were taught the wrong things from the beginning, even if they went to yeshiva. We assume their hashkafa is incorrect. So in other words, we're very lenient. We're more with the chesed. That's why it's true that while Shammai is right with what he's saying, he's 100% right with what he's saying. As we learned on Saturday night, everybody agreed with Shammai. They didn't agree with Hillel.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm talking about in the class. Yeah. Everybody was saying, Hillel, okay? They were all ruled like Shammai, because Shammai was following halacha, period. It was black and white. And that's how we tend to do it when we're not in the chesed mode. Okay, but when we see somebody who doesn't fit our model of black and white, so now we have gray. So now we jump into Hillel's camp.
If somebody has the education, he's just coming to mock you, then you know. But if he doesn't know,
right. So, or if he doesn't, or if he was taught wrong. So you have an example in Pirkei Avot. It says, you should be careful with what be careful with your words, lest you cause the student to go to dirty waters. Okay, the dirty waters in those days were the schools of Baitos and Sadok, with the schools of Epicurus. Today, I know I'll get into trouble, and it's all 7 minutes. So. Today would be the example of if I say something wrong to a person in the Orthodox schools, they're going to end up going to the Conservative Reform or to the schools of which would be Epicurusism in their own right, or it would be even further into the world of secularism. So you would say you have to be careful with what you're saying, lest you send them to those places. When we send people to yeshiva, we have to be very careful with what the yeshiva is going to preach. Because sometimes the yeshivas are going to preach something that we don't agree with. So you really don't want to, you have to be very, very careful. Because then if the person goes to the wrong yeshiva, where they're allowing for certain thoughts that we would call heretical today, so then when they come back and they tell you something, you have to take that into account, that they're coming from that sort of school. And now if I would use the proper approach from halacha, I have to get out of here. Yeah. But once I use the Hillel approach and say they're ignoramuses, they don't know enough, so then I bring them along and I try to bring them back to the path of light. Okay? Okay, now everybody's going to call me the ultimate fanatic for saying these things, but nonetheless, that's really what's going on with the sternness, as the Gemara puts, the sternness of Shammai and the humility of Hillel. Really, it's a different perspective as how I'm approaching the person coming to me. Okay? So here we go. Here's the story. Maaseh b'shnei Adam. It once happened that two people, Shehimru Zed Zeb, made a bet with one another. You can see that this is not going to turn out too well. Okay. They made a bet with one another. Let me just put a marking here. Of moving books all around. And it says they incited each other who discussed, and now what happened? Amr, they said, Kol Mishaelech Biaknet at Hillel, whoever goes and provokes Hillel to lose his temper, Yitol Arba Me'od, he wins, and let him take 400 Jews as his bribes. It's a lot of money. So, okay, fine. Amar Echad Mehem, thereupon one of them said, Ani Akni Tano, I will provoke him. So we have a good old bet. Hillel was known, he doesn't lose his temper, so fine. The guy says, I'm going to make him lose his temper. I'm going to get the prize of 400 Jews. Okay. Now, just from the beginning, well, if somebody would come to you, you don't know, by the way, obviously you don't know that they have a bet going against you. If you did, then the game's over. But if you don't know, so if you're a Hillel, then you're going to try to answer the questions. Of course, if you're a Hashama, you're going to say, even in the most serious sense, because it's not covered the Torah to ask me these stupid questions, get away. Okay, so here we go. Oto Ayom Erev Shabbat Haya. So one day it happened. It was Friday, the eve of Shabbat. Hillel chafaf ev rosho, and Hillel was busy washing his head. And why? Because he was taking a shower. He's getting ready for Shabbos. Okay.
Like,
What? Yes.
To go back on what you said, like
Yeah.
if you're the Hillel, you're trying to answer the questions. If it's Shammai,
Because you don't know.
Because of, right, you just
Because of cover the Torah.
cover Torah, right? The bet was made over Hillel for that reason because they knew Shammai would just.
Yeah.
There's no like possibility. It's just
Right. It's no possibility he's even going to listen to us.
right.
Hillel had reputation. So Hillel had a reputation. He doesn't lose his temper. Shammai didn't have that reputation. He didn't have that one. He came to you. You were the ruler. Leave me alone. It's not hard to get him excited.
Right.
Okay.
You're not going to make it bet.
By the way, you know when this happens? This happens in schools.
Oh.
The rule of in teaching used to be that you a teacher cannot crack a smile until December. So from September, October, November, the teacher's not supposed to crack a smile. To set up a stern atmosphere in the classroom. Okay? Now, I don't know, anybody who knows me knows it's really hard for me not to smile. Okay? You really have to push me not to have me smile, but normally I'm going to smile, I may even laugh, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So what happened was, I remember I was teaching 6th grade, and I knew the rule, but it just never really mattered to me. But the kids, within the first week, if somebody said something and I laughed, so they said, "Oh, we got him." I was thinking, you didn't look for the first day. First day I was smiling at you idiots. But okay. But that was a class that they tried. They were one of the notorious classes. Every once in a while you get a class that every teacher hates because they're just so horrible. That was that class. Okay. I happened to get that class. Now, and by the way, there's no good ending to that story. Okay. They were just a horrible class all the way through. Okay, and they probably felt the same way about me, so we're equal online, okay, if they ever hear this. But the point is that one of the kids, who actually did turn out very good, he went to a different yeshiva, which could deal with him and his antics, and the guy, Baruch Hashem, turned out nicely, wearing tzitzis, became very, frum, the whole thing. It was beautiful. But and I met him much later on, that's why I know the end of that story. Other kids that were, I don't know what happened to them. If they're in jail today, I don't know. But it's hopefully not. But and some of them apologized to me when they saw me years later. So I mean, there was something. I mean, I guess there was a good ending to the story. But bottom line is, you have people do that they say, "I'm going to get him." Or her, I'm going to get him, and we'll have a bet as to who can do it faster. Yeah. Now, if I had a reputation as somebody who doesn't smile, by the way, the secular teacher had that reputation. Never cracked a smile. She had a sheet of armor over her, and they had to toe the line because of that. There was no more. You move like this, you were in trouble. So you didn't do that. And they all knew it. She had the reputation. I was new in school, so I had no reputation. But when they saw me smile in the first week, they knew or the first 2 weeks, they knew I was a marshmallow, or whatever you want to call that. So it was just, from that point on, I was lost. I should have realized the rule and followed the rule. Okay. But nonetheless, that's what's going on here. He has a reputation. So his reputation is he never gets upset. Well, I'll get you upset. Watch. Okay. So Hillel chafaf et rosho. So like I said, he was washing his hair. Halach v'avar al petach beito v'yamar. So as he was doing so, this person went and passed by the doorway of his house, calling, Mikan Hillel, Mikan Hillel. Is there Hillel? Is there a Hillel here? Is there a Hillel here? So he says he pretended not to know who Hillel was, and called out to him as one would call an ordinary peasant. Okay, he didn't say it's the rabbi, huh? This is particularly disparaging since at the time Hillel was the Nasi. He was the crown prince, if you will, of the Sanhedrin. So the foremost leader of the people, the Jewish people. And additionally, the person approached Hillel on Friday afternoon, a time when Hillel would not likely have time for a lengthy discussion. So in these ways, he hoped to provoke Hillel to display irritation. So imagine, by the way, if you want to see this, you walk into your doctor's office. Your doctor will have the name Tom Brady. Okay, so Dr. Tom Brady. Your doctor will always call you by your first name, right? He'll call me Fred, and so on and so forth. That's the normal thing. But at the same time, they expect you to call them doctor or doc, some to that. So there was a woman who had a PhD. She had a PhD. And it's a famous story. She had a PhD. And she came in. Doesn't matter what your title is. Be the President of the United States, who cares? And so she came in, and her name, let's say her name was Mary. So the doctor said, so Mary, how are you feeling today? So she saw his name, Tom Brady, and said, Tom, I'm feeling quite thank you. He was taken aback. You called me. You didn't call me doctor. She said, when you call me by my title, I will call you by your title. And then until then, you're Tom. In other words, you don't have nothing over me. Okay. So that again, if a teacher would call me, there's people in the system who will use my first name. Others will only use Rabbi. Others will say Rabbi Nebel. So it all depends on what Rabbi Nebel is for the ones who don't know me and they want to show total respect. Rabbis for those who know me and just are comfortable, not, we have their relationship where they don't have to go Rabbi Nebel, you can say Rabbi, and those decided that they can call me Fred. Okay, fine. In my other jobs, I may have gotten a little, because I was younger, I may have gotten a little upset. Here, I just know it's part of the territory, and I go with it. Some people even tried to call me Rabbi Fred, the best, only because of Father Mulcahy and MASH and all these other things. And they sometimes call the priest by what do you call him? Father Bob or something, right? So when I realized that, I also said, okay, fine. You put up with everything at that point. Because I never liked, they originally wanted to call me Rabbi Fred here, and I said, no. No, I'm not interested. She's Rabbi Nebel, Rabbi, Fred. Not Rabbi Fred, I don't want that. Okay. But, and I really never gave them the option of Fred, actually, so people just decide to take that upon themselves. But the point is that if I'm used to be everybody else is calling me Rabbi or Hanasi or whatever they're calling me, and suddenly this guy comes in, is there a Hillel here? Well, who do you think you are? You don't know who I am? Can you imagine somebody going in? Is to the president, is there a Donald here? Yeah. It's not a Donald, it's the Donald, first of all. Okay? But you have all those things, okay? So you have to figure out what's going on. Okay, so then it says, Nitate v'yatzal krato. So, Erev Shabbos, the guy's washing his hair. He puts on his cloak, he wraps himself in his cloak, and he went out to greet the person. Amar lo, and he said to him, Bini, matam v'vakesh. My son, what are you looking for? What can I do if you're tzaddik? Okay? Doesn't get upset, doesn't say, a chutzpah, you didn't call me a nasi. You said, is there a Hillel? You came to my house, you don't know. Okay. So he said, Amar lo, he said to him, She'ela yeshli l'shol, I have a shayla, I have a question to ask you. Amar lo, he said to him, Sha'al b'ni Sha'al. Hillel said to him, ask my son, go ahead, ask. So he says, Mipnei mara she'en shel bavliim segal galot. So why are the heads of the Babylonians so round? That's his question. Remember, I want to get you angry. I'm not interested in real halacha here. Okay? Why are the heads of the Babylonians so round? Okay, that's what he says. Fine. So he answers him, Amalo, Venish Elegadola Shalta. Oh, you have truly asked a profound question. Okay. Say again.
I think he's cut on.
No, he didn't catch on.
Okay.
What is, when you ask a question that I consider not the smartest, not you particularly, but when a person asks a question that is not exactly the greatest question in the world, I can demean the question and say, what a stupid question. Mm-hmm. Or I can say, wow, what a profound question. And I can proceed to answer it. Why would I do that? One, to make you, the questioner, feel good about it. And that's the main thing. And to also encourage you to ask other questions. I don't want to discourage you. So I tell you, that's a great question. Or I say to you, that is such a great, I have to think about that. Let me get back to you. I don't know what offhand. Oh, that's the ultimate. You stumped the rabbi. You stumped the teacher. You did. It's great. You feel good for yourself. Now, that's the dumbest question in the world. I can come back and I could have told you that in 5 seconds. But I don't want to discourage you. So that, again, that's humility. Yeah.
And Hillel must have known right when the guy comes around, is there a Hillel? So right away, he obviously perceived that somebody was just trying to stir him up.
No.
You don't think he realized that at first?
It's not in his mind. Again, why is it that the doctor was upset when Mary, again, using that, I don't know
He's
who
used
the
to
name is.
being addressed as doctor.
Right. You're hurting my pride.
No, that's the respect. Yeah.
You're hurting my pride. How chutzpah you have. Now, if I don't have pride, if I don't think much of my position, if I don't think much of where I am, in other words, I'm a humble guy. I'm truly humble. A lot of people say, I'm a humble guy, which means I'm not a humble guy, and you better call me mister. Okay? That's what it means. But if somebody doesn't have to say it, but they are humble, they don't. Call me what you want. I don't care. Israel, you don't know. Who am I? That was Shaul's problem in the Torah. He was too humble for his own good. And until he became who he was. And then he went the other side of that and went crazy. But normally, the only reason I'm getting upset that you're not showing me deference is because I believe I should get deference.
Oh, so
but if I don't believe that,
so because that didn't assault him, then it wouldn't have bothered him if somebody would have.
It's like when Moshe said when people said to Moshe, "You did this and you did that," and he said, "Why are you fighting against me? You're fighting against God. Who am I? I'm nothing. I'm just a servant of God. I have no power in this game. So you can yell at me all you want, but it doesn't do anything." So that's Hillel.
If Moshe Rabbeinu were here today, he would probably not understand why we might address him as Moshe Rabbeinu and not just Moshe.
Probably, because he was humble. So he would know if you would say, Moshe, do me a favor, empty the trash. He would say, okay, so empty the trash. Moshe, clean up with me. But at the same time, if someone called him Rev Moshe, he would understand Rev Moshe. But he wouldn't need it. Yeah. The point is I don't need the title. I remember I was with, I have to be careful here, but I was with a couple of rabbis, okay? Some non-Jew came into the room, and she said, they were said to the person, here are the rabbis. So I said to her, Fred Nebel. The other rabbi used his name. And then the other rabbi went, and I'm Rabbi Blank. I was thinking, really? Why? You just saw me, you saw the other guy, so follow suit. Just, we can be... The person in their wildest dreams wouldn't have called me Fred, and nor the other guy his name. In their wildest dreams, it wouldn't have happened. They were going to default, because they didn't remember the names anyway, they remembered Rabbi. It's very simple to remember Rabbi. Rabbi, 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 Rabbi. Father, 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 Father. It's so simple. You don't have to. So I can tell you my first name. You're not going to use my first name. But the fact that the last rabbi couldn't allow the first name present like that meant that person needed the title. Now, I don't know if it's really true. I'm just putting my thoughts into it. It was very strange. Like I said, you have to see two people doing that. You normally follow suit. But But again, maybe they couldn't for whatever reasons. I don't know. But that would be, so for Moshe, he would have introduced him. And by the way, where did I first see this? It's very interesting. The Chabad rabbi. Now I was on campus when I was in college. I went to Chabad, and the rabbi was, we all always called him Rabbi Darren, which his name was, but his name was Yisrael Darren. Yisrael. That was Yisrael Darren. Yeah. When he would introduce himself, he never said Rabbi Darren. He would say, Yisrael Darren, nice to meet you. And of course, we all knew he was rabbi, so Yisrael never became into our minds. I happen to remember that was his name, but we never said Rabbi Yisrael or Yisrael. We said rabbi, right? Because how we were brought up. Now, I don't know today, in today's society where everybody likes to call everybody by their first name. So I don't know what that would do today if he would say Yisrael Darren, and he's still, Baruch Hashem, still alive and doing well. So I'm not sure if people say Yisrael or not. But that, I know that I was always brought up that the guy has to tell the use of the title. The woman has to tell the use of the title. You never use their first name. And all my college professors, by the way, college professors, if you use their first name, you get an F. So don't bother. This is so arrogant that they couldn't take that. It would go against their... I worked so long for my doctorate, my professorship. You have to call me professor, your honor. Quiet, you're worthless to me. Just give me the A and get out of it. Okay. But that's what it is. They can't go by their first name. So if you do the first name, you basically consigned yourself to not doing well in that course. I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay? I don't care what they say. Call me Tom. Yes, professor. By the way, I remember this. There was, again, talking about how people are brought up. When I was in New Brunswick, Mountain New Brunswick, one person would always drive me to Shul on Erev Shabbos. He'd always drive me. Harry was his name. Harry would drive me. And so the other guy who was also from, he would pick up. And because we're both, he didn't mind picking us up. So the guy called him by his surname. I don't want to say because I don't want to get in trouble with everybody's names. But he said to him, "No, that's my father. Mr. is what we call my father. You call me Harry." So he said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Blank." He couldn't get it. He wouldn't do it because he was brought up. You have to give people titles. He was a French guy. So in French, apparently they were much more formal than we are. Either that or his family was more formal. But that's it. So again, you have those people who are formal and not. But if Moshe was here, would he expect me to call him Rev Moshe? Harav Moshe? Or talk to him in third person, how is the Rav doing? He wouldn't expect it. He wouldn't mind. I'm not saying he would understand what you're talking to. But if he would introduce himself, he would say, "Hi, I'm Moshe ben Amram." That's it. He wouldn't say anything else. He wouldn't say, "Hey, I spoke to God today." That's the point. So he said again, why are the heads of the Babylonians round? So B'nai okay, you asked my question, and the answer is B'nai she'ein lehem chayot pikchot, and the reason is because they don't have skillful midwives.
Interesting.
Okay, so he said. So he says, one, the Yakov says when we talk about this already. So although the person's question was actually trivial, Hillel nevertheless treated it with a deference. Why? Because his practice was never to dismiss any question as unimportant, for he did not wish to discourage people from approaching him. So again, that goes as normal. And he says the midwives improperly shaped the head of the infant at birth. The Maharsha paused and said Hillel's answer also contains a deep meaning, in which he was alluding to certain elements in the Babylonian national character. Okay, so here we go. I remember this from a while ago. So next question. Fine. So halach vimtim shalachat. So the person went away and waited for a while. He didn't get him angry, okay? He went away. He didn't really ask about. So, and he wasn't going to be like Columbo, for those who remember Columbo. One more question. He didn't do that. He walked away, okay? And he waits. Let him go back to the bath, okay? Chaza v'amar. Then he returned to the front of Hillel, called out, Mikan Hillel. Is there a Hillel here? Is there a Hillel here? Okay, once again. So, Nitatef, Yatsa, once again he puts on his cloak and he went out to greet the person. Amalo, V'ni matam v'akesh. So what can I do for you, Tzaddik? So he's Amalo, he said to him, She'eli yesh li sha'ol, I have a question. Amalo sha'al b'ni sha'al. So ask the question. Mipnei ma eineim shel taramidian terutot. Why is it that the eyes of the Talmidians are especially round? That's question. Talmudians, where they are the ones who dwell in Talmud, an oasis in the Syrian desert. So they have apparently round eyes.
He translates that here as weak-eyed.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Rashi is saying it seems that rounded eyes were considered unattractive.
Oh,
okay.
In appearance, he's talking about appearance apparently.
Yeah. It's simple stuff. There are much deeper things going on
It's
here.
round, maybe like the eye openings are what do we call this? Like a almond shape.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just you don't have the points at the end. They just like a bird's eye is just like round like that. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe that's
So you have, if I can find it really quickly.
a fish eye is round.
Yeah, for instance, I mean, like I said, there's deeper things going on here. For the heads, just to give the Maharsha really quickly. He said, there's a question in this that since since it was not a question of Torah, it was just a simple question. Even with his humility, he shouldn't have answered the questions. Humility is one. They want to say humility comes from a question from Torah. When am I going to be humble? When do I want you to ask questions, encourage questions? When is divrei Torah? When is something from the world? Why does Donald Trump have gray hair, or white hair, or wear a wig, or whatever, real hair, whatever it's going to
I
be?
can walk out to you and say, in front of your house, say, how come the sidewalk slabs are this long? I mean, that's what's it got to do with anything. We're not talking about
at that point, you don't have to answer the questions, okay? So that's what the Marsha is saying. And so it says, Bezeh Altan Kasil, and that's why Shlomo said that you don't answer a fool according to his foolishness, which is going back to the previous statements we were dealing with. Venera Bezeh, so it appears to this, Lama Bitoch, Chashav Hillel, the Vadai Lo Ba, Laknito, and the Marsha says it seems that because of the humility of Hillel, he didn't think this person was coming to anger him. So with these questions, but he assumed that these questions really hinted to matters of halachic import.
Interesting.
Okay? Think about that. You come to ask him how long is the sidewalk, and I as a rabbi think, this must be a halachic question, because he can't become to this.
And in fact, we do have some halachic discussions that kind of where are they going with this?
Right.
Yeah?
So he says in the three questions he has intent for these three bad character traits. One is a haughty spirit. One is a bad eye, and one is another type of haughty soul, which are all mentioned in the students of Bil'am, and that is what they were asking. That's why they said, "Why are the heads of the people so round?" Which means which means that they're haughty. Al pi mashinemar v'sof peraka yasham, which it says at the end of the B'nei dal dvarim nichse balibatim yotzim litzvam, that the possessions of the balibatim of the owners they bring into hide v'al gasa ruach. So because of this arrogance, and Rashi says shemishtarim gaim alachem, that they lord it over their brothers. So ayin sham. So and that's what it says. The heads of the rich people are round. Because they have to keep looking back to their possessions. Avon, and that because of that, so they're constantly turning around. They need their hard heads to turn around to see the evilness. And so he answers them in a matter of hinting too, and he says because they don't have smart or wise, seeing. What do they call the women that take midwives? Since they're not seeing that much, what they do is their hardiness forces or causes all these things. The hardiness causes foolishness, and that's a bad midah. That's a bad trait that they have. That was in the Babylonians. Okay, so that's the first question. So he, okay, so why are they around? Because they keep looking, where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? But that's because of their hardiness. So here the guy comes, why are their heads round? So Hillel is sitting and says, okay, I'm the Gadol Hador, I'm the Nasi, I'm the greatest guy in the generation. He must be asking a halachic question. If he's asking a halachic question, but he doesn't want to ask it in such a provocative way, why are Babylonians arrogant? So, I know it's not to get in trouble. So he says, why are their heads so round? So he answers, because the midwives, they pull them out incorrectly, they have to reshape the head. But really what he's saying is because they're so arrogant, they just force an issue. So they're not looking so much at the head as, what's really going on. You understand? So he asked in a hinting way. That's how Hillel understands it. The guy was simply asking. Because he wanted to get him angry. Why are there round heads? Period. I want to get you angry. And he takes us a halacha question.
It's a serious question.
That's a serious question.
The guy didn't want to insult the Babylonians by
right.
Why are they so arrogant?
Right. So that's how the Maharsha is explained. Now that makes sense.
Interesting.
It makes sense because if you ask me a question, you must be asking me for a reason. Because why are you coming to the rabbi to ask a question about Babylonians? Leave me alone. Okay. So now he asks about the Talmudians. Why are their eyes like that? So he says, where's the name? I think it's here. Oh, here it goes. It says, you asked a big question. By the way, he's already changed his link. No, it's the same thing. Okay. Yeah. You asked a big question, profound question. And the answer is, because they live in sandy terrain, which would make sense with yours, by the way.
Other translation,
okay. God gave them rounded and thus smaller eye sockets. So during windstorms, they would be better protected from blowing sand. Simple thing. So he said again. They're asking. He asked why they have round eyes, especially round eyes. So he says because they live in the desert. So when the windstorms come, they can protect their eyes.
Maybe that means that maybe the eye openings are smaller or something, so they can.
So again, that's a simple way to do it.
They don't get to stand at the corners of their eyes.
Right.
They have beady eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says, so again, the Maharsha says, so what's going on here? So Chashav Hillel, Shechavei Lemidara. So Hillel assumed that what they're really asking is why do they have evil? What this midah of evil?
That works with a beady.
Yeah. Why they have this midah of evil? Be'ba'ayin ra. So that's the second one, namely the evil eye. Al pi mashene'amar be'perish chelik david edor mabel no nidga'u el b'shvil gilgal ha'ayin. It says that the generation of the flood only prided itself because of this bad eye. Perish Rashi Shayugavon Eneim and Afim Acher Erneim, that they would follow their eyes and basically prostitute themselves after the eyes. Okay. And also you have with Shimshon Shahalach Achar Enav, that Shimshon followed his eyes. He saw the beautiful girl. He said, "Daddy, I want that girl." Okay. So these people had this trait, this character trait. So that's why they had these beady eyes, as you call them, because their trait was to look at something and desire it. Okay, this is a bad trait, right? I see what you have. I transgress the 10th commandment of the 10 commandments. Translate the last. I break the actually 9. I was right. 9 and 10. Namely, don't be jealous of somebody else with a wife. This, that. You shouldn't be jealous. Okay. Compares Rashi. Nami. Another thing would be compares Rashi from Koma Necherem. Rashi explains in other places. True told how you go. Wait. That's what we learned, because they lived in the sandy area, so it's just protecting of their eyes. Okay, fine. So he answered them again, no problem. Okay, fine. What's the next one? So so again, the person went away and then waited a while. Then returned to Hillel's house. Mikan Hillel. Who here is Hillel? Who is Hillel? You would think by now you would know who Hillel is. Okay.
Is it Shabbos yet?
No. No, that's the whole thing. It's Erev Shabbos. Right. Now, the closer you get to Shabbos, the more angry you get. Right? And I don't have time for this. Or as one Rabbi Darrell Lerner called this, you can say the name when it comes to that, she called that the hand on the door, the hand on the doorknob question. You want to leave the door, so you have your hand on the doorknob, you the rabbi, and somebody says, "Rabbi, I have just a quick question for you." Yes, what's the question? Why the Holocaust happened? That's the hand on the doorknob question. When you're not going to get out of there. You want to leave, but you can't get out. Okay, so it's the closer I get to Shabbos, the more I have to move, and you're asking me dumb questions, and I don't have time for this. So that's why he's trying to get him angry. Okay, and that's why he doesn't ask 1, 2, 3. He asks a question. The guy didn't get upset. Okay, I'm going to wait a little longer. I want the sun. For those who remember, what's it?
The
Frisco Kid. The sun's coming down. Okay, I'm in trouble now.
Can't get on the horse yet.
Right. So again. So he waits and he says, "Who here is Hillel?" So Hillel is Hillel. Once again, he went out to greet them. Amalo, and again he says, "B'ni, my son, what can I do for you?" Amalo, she'elas yesh l'shol. I have a question for you. Great. Amalo, sha'al b'ni sha'al. So go ahead and ask. B'nei maragleim shal Afrikiyim rechavot. Why are the feet of the Africans so wide?
Which Africans?
What?
Which Africans?
I have no idea. He didn't ask that, Shiloh. Okay. So he says, what a great question you've asked. The reason is because they live in the swamp lands. So Rashi, amongst others, say, God gave them wider feet so that their feet would not sink into the marshy earth. Alternatively, because of the terrain, people tended to walk without shoes, which in turn caused the feet to widen somewhat. Okay? So again, that's a simple explanation. When it comes to the Maharsha, he explains, well, where is this? Yeah. So he says, so what did Hillel think? Again, it's going to bad midah, the third one, which is a wide soul. What does that mean? Le'esof mamon harbe, that to gather a lot of money. You are going to be hoarding, making a lot of money. Hoarding a lot of money.
Wait, soul is the soul of the foot, or soul is the soul of the body?
Say again?
Soul is the foot or the body?
No, it means that you have the ruach, which is the upper level, the spirit. Nefesh would be just the person.
Okay.
So it's not the soul is the foot per se. It's just that I'm looking to gather stuff for me. So the one who has the most money at the end wins.
Right, so is that what Hillel got thing? Like, oh, you're talking about the feast, you're talking about the soul, talking about the soul.
All right. So when he said the head, that was the upper. That was my arrogance. You don't just want to grab everything. I just want to grab everything. I want to own everything. I want to be the richest man in Babylon. Or in Africa in this case.
Probably, yeah.
Right?
Maybe. I don't know. Could be.
It's the name of a book. I was just making it fun of the name of a book. Don't worry about it. Okay. So then it says Ragleim Rachva, but all Ayin Masha Ketuv Kol Yikum. Then it says that everything will be established at your feet. Zeb Mamon v'Shemam Adam. That is the money that is going to the man. Okay, ve'eshiv. So he answers. So he's assuming that he's talking about the last thing. I'm running after money. Okay. She says, "Mepnei shadarim bein bitzei mayim," because they're in swamp land, if it were, which means it's a remez ayit shem shadarim sham bein ovdei elilim. It's because they live amongst other worshippers who ohavim betza, who love profit. V'amamon de bnei Afrike hem bnei Canaan shepana emer shishel, and it's interesting. He's saying that the Africans were the Bnei Canaan who turned from Eretz Israel, and they went there. Okay, so Amru B'Chanan Shesiva Levanav Ahavo Gazel Hubetza, and it says that Canaan commanded his sons who went that way to love stealing and profit. Okay, so he's saying. Again, Hillel's looking and saying, you didn't just ask me a simple question, why this, why that. So I'm answering you from a halachic point of view as to, or hashkafic point of view, if nothing else, as to what's going on. Fine. So he says, Amalo, he said to him, She'elot harbe yishli yish'ol. I have a great many questions to ask. He doesn't lead this way. Umidyare ani shematich oz, and I am fearful that you will become angry with me. And he says, so now Moshe says, Natan lo makom, sharoy lechos. And he gives him a place where it would be fitting for him to get angry. Ula yaknitenu bezeh, maybe perhaps he's going to be angry with this. Im ata hu lo yarbu k'motcha, if there's not going to be many like you, ki'ilu lo hayam akiru kavar, you didn't recognize it yet. Sha'amalei mipnei shavar. Okay, so it's going with this. Let's go. Okay, so he said, I was afraid. So Nitatev Yashav Lefanav Yamalo, Hillel wrapped himself in his cloak and sat down in front of him and said to him, Kol She'elot, She'esh L'cha L'sh'ol Sha'al. Every question you have, feel free to ask. Amalo. He said to him, Ata hu Hillel, Shekoran Otcha Nasi Yisrael. Are you the great Hillel whom they called the Nasi of the Jewish people? Okay, and again, by appearing as if he had been unaware of Hillel's stature, the person hoped to irritate him. So, Amalo, hey. So Hillel said, yes. Okay. Amalo, the person then said to Hillel, Imatahu, if it is indeed you, lo yirbu kamodcha b'Yisrael, let there not be many among you in the Jewish people. Amalo, Hillel replied, V'ni mipnei mai. He said, why do you say such a thing? I'm a nice guy. Why wouldn't you want more people like this? Nice guy. Why are you cursing me? Amralo, he said, because on your account I lost 400 Jews. And he says, and he revealed to Hillel the wager he made. Now he tells him.
Yeah.
So Amralo, so Hillel said to him, Heves Hebrew Chacha. One should always vigilantly guard his disposition, so he maintains equanimity at all situations. Kedai hu Hillel, Shetaved al Yado, Dalad Meod Zuz, Vidalad Meod Zuz. Hillel is worth you losing on his account 400 Zuz, and yet another 400 Zuz. Hillel lo yakpid, but Hillel will not take offense. Okay? So he says, as a loser of the bet, the person not only failed to gain the 400 Zuz, but he had to pay 400 Zuz to his partner, the bet's winner. Wow. So this is, you're seeing, I'm sorry. you're seeing the beauty of the story that Hillel heard something else. He figured if somebody's come to him, it must be that he's asking Allah Shaila. The guy couldn't get him angry, even when he tells him that it was all a bet. He still doesn't become angry. He just says it was worthwhile for you to lose it, that I don't get angry. Done.
So in other words, even if, at the outset, if Hillel would have realized the guy was trying to get his goat, he obviously would have just stayed level.
It's not worth getting angry.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. My pleasure.